25 years, Gordon Pincott, the chairman of Millward Brown, has been actively involved in the strategic planning and research evaluation of brands and communications. He's been through the rise of many brands and at the same time has seen some of the biggest names go bust. Given today's complex media landscape and restlessness that comes with it, brands are doing things differently, are getting more bold and are at their experimentative best. Well, I caught up with Gordon during his recent India visit to get a sense if all is actually well in the marketing world. This is a Brand Equity exclusive. Thank you so much for joining us, Gordon. Truly a pleasure to have you on Brand Equity.
Thank you.
So, 24 years in Millward Brown, 30 plus years in the business. Do you think marketers and brand gurus overestimate the consumer's interest in brands per se?
Yes, I think brands take themselves far too seriously, and not surprisingly, perhaps marketers' lives to live their brand. We at Millward Brown, we have the largest neuromarketing team in the world, and so we have actually tried to draw lots of learning out of neuroscience. And what you learn from neuroscience is that people pay very little attention to things, and they don't go to a lot of effort to make decisions. So they pay very little attention to advertising, because it's not that important to them. And when they make a brand decision, they're not expending very much effort either. And I think we've come from, you talk about 20, 30 years ago, we've come from, I think, a vision of where people went into a store and they looked at all the brands and they weighed up all the options and did some kind of calculation, said, I'll buy that one. Yeah. And we know, behavioral economics says to us that people use shortcuts. They typically buy the last brand they bought. They don't weigh up everything. Right. They just zoom in on one brand and choose that brand. And that's the digital dilemma to me, that digital is a fantastic space for engaging in detail with people. The question is, do they want to engage with you, your brand, and your communication? They don't want to become friends with their butter or, indulge in some great cooking oil online exploration. People haven't got the time in their lives to do that.
Right. So, in this great, complex age, do you think it's possible to just build a great brand by being minimalistic in the sense, since you know that TV is still growing, could you get away with just focusing on traditional media and not looking at digital? Just a question.
Yes, you could. You could get away with it. Would you be exploiting every opportunity that might be open to connect with people in different ways? Yes, you would. So you would be limiting. But could you launch and develop a global brand on the back of TV? The truth is probably most global brands have done that.
If you look at China and India Inc., and their attempts to really become global entities.
Yes.
What do you think is holding them back in their journey? Do you think broadly it's the perception game for both countries, really?
I think perceptions are an important factor in that, yes. I guess it's also, in China, which has maybe been more cut off from the world for longer, it's figuring out exactly how to move their brands into other countries. But I think Millward Brown's journey in China has been really interesting. So we've been in the market about 10 years, opened up on the back of the multinationals wanting to be in the Unilevers and Cokes wanting to be in the market. All our business was multinationals for 4 or 5 years. Yeah. Now over half our business is with Chinese companies. Wow. And they're all asking the same question. They're all saying, yes, we want to maximize our brand in China, but then we want to know, how do we get this brand out global? For exactly the same reasons that American brands or French brands want to be global. So they're absolutely aiming to understand everything they can about it. And brand China is an issue, yes. Yeah. So there are perceptual things to overcome. But I don't think as an individual brand you necessarily need to solve the country's issues. If you can find something that is special about you, and you can acknowledge some of those issues and deal with them, but focus on what makes you good, I see absolutely no reason why there won't be major Chinese brands and major Indian brands that are global in the next 10 to 15 years. I'm sure there will be.
Which Indian brands, prop up in your head as brands to look out for in the global landscape or on the global stage?
That's a difficult question for me to answer. I've heard that some brands like Mahindra already do have some strong international presence. TATA, really interesting where I come from, where I'm based in England. used to be the car and motorbike manufacturing centre of the world, actually. And bit by bit, it's all declined and gone. And one of the last pieces there is Jaguar Land Rover. And when it was heard that TATA was buying that, there was kind of a bit of wailing and gnashing of teeth. And that's the very end of the car industry. And now it's a really thriving, successful, lots of people employed there. They've done a very nice job of building and continuing to build the Jag and Land Rover business.
Yeah. So let me ask you a rather tricky question, and I'd appreciate it if you're candid. So after the Tatas got the Jaguar Land Rover acquisition happened, do you think that the equity of Jaguar has come down?
No, I don't. I think the equity has gone up, and I don't think that's anything to do with a TATA acquisition. I think it comes back to what the brand itself is doing and the models they launch and the way they portray themselves. And I think
the fact that it was acquired by an Indian company, you're saying, had absolutely no impact on consumer psyche in the West.
I think in the medium term, not. I'm sure at the time there was some concern of what's that going to mean. I don't think any of that really remains to an extent that would hinder their business.
Thank you so much. Truly a pleasure. That was truly a wonderful conversation.
Thank you very much indeed. It's been nice talking to you.